the golden rule about do unto others as you would want them to do to you.
Yes.
Similarly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to be only forgiving when we're forgiving to others.
Yes.
So it's not just a personal relationship just with God.
No.
You have to uske bandeon se bhi mohabbat karni chahiye.
Exactly. And I love what you just said. It's a case of, when we approach Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for mercy and compassion and for forgiveness, the first thought should be is, have I forgiven the people in my life? Have I shown them that compassion and mercy? And if not, how can we expect it?
There's such a beautiful saying by Imam Ali alayhi salam where he said that when you're in an interaction, don't let that person set the tone of the conversation. You should be setting the positivity and the kindness and the generosity in there. Because sometimes people come up at us in a very negative and painful way. And then that makes us reactionary. Let's not react. Let's be the one that keep the status quo. And that status quo has got to be, you're great and I'm great too. We're both okay.
Take the proactive stance. And you know what? It's so perfect that we have you on our show, because that really is the premise of the show. That introspect, and also just to create that positivity in the world, like reflect upon what are we doing or not doing, never point the finger at anyone else, and just take responsibility. And even when someone does have that approach to us, it's like, how can we transform it?
जब खुदा आपका मकसद हो ना, तो फिर ये जो आ जाते हैं आगे कि जो पीछे से भी कुछ कर रहे हैं, जो those things become peripheral because your eye is on the goal. And again, this is from Nahjul Balagha. Imam Ali alayhi salam is talking about this life, the race that we just talked about. And he says, keep your eye on the destination. What is your destination? Your akhirat, right? Because inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. We've come from Him. We're going to go back to Him. Right. So your destination is to get to God. Keep your eye on that heaven that you're creating for yourself. So once you get your eye off the goal, when you look at the bad people, the negativity, the obstacles, they actually become the obstacle that they were trying to be. When you learn driving, they tell you, keep your eyes on the road.
Keep yourself focused.
Right? Never look off and never look at some, pretty woman walking on the street or whatever, because your car will go that way. And you want to stay on the straight path. So let's keep our eye on the goal.
That's a fabulous analogy. Thank you for that, Shyrose.
Absolutely. It's a beautifully said, that we may not see the destination at that time when we are driving towards it. But staying focused on the journey, staying focused, what you're going through at that moment, at that day, that's imperative. Wo sara aapka jo focus and staying positive during your journey. And as you said, when speaking of, how we react to the negativity and people, so how do you stay positive during that and not try to react in those situations?
That's a beautiful question, because it makes me reflect upon my life, and honestly, the disappointments, the terrible things that have happened in everybody's life has trials and errors, and the difficulties have all made me the person that I am, and it's made me, alhamdulillah, I hope, a better person.
Absolutely.
Because you've got to become better, not bitter.
Exactly.
And for me, the positivity would not have come automatically. It only happens when you're dealing with negativity, and that's why we've got to embrace the pain in our life. We've got to embrace the tests, because often they're God created, because He wants to take us to another level. Often they're created by people, but even that, subhanallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala changes the adversities in our lives created by plotters or whatever it is, and makes those very people work for us. If you look at the life of Nabi Musa alayhi salam, if you think about it, it was Pharaoh himself who gives him refuge in his own home. So the enemy is working against himself, and gives him all the power, the status, the training that he needed to be able to understand how the system works, so that when he came back as a prophet that he was, he knew exactly where to hit. So subhanallah, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even sees that people are after you, it's इतना ज़रूरी है कि हम उस चीज़ पे हमारा दिल ना टूट जाए कि ए खुदा तू कहाँ है, ये सब मेरे पीछे हैं, ये कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि खुदा उन चीज़ों, उन लोगों की वजह से अक्सर हमारी किस्मत अच्छी ज़्यादा बना देता है, या तो उन्हीं लोगों की वजह से हम वही ज़रिया बन जाते हैं कि हम आगे बढ़ें. I often find that many of the successes in my life, whenever every success I say, oh my God, Allah, how did this happen? I have nothing. I do not deserve it. There's so many more talented people, so many people who deserve this and who are working so hard, and yet you give it to me. And then I realize that it's because I have repelled the evil that has often come towards me with goodness, which is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has recommended in the Holy Quran and advised. And He says that truly, the reaction to an evil it has to be evil. We understand, but if you repel it with goodness, then you will have unlocked something amazing for yourself.
Right.
And truly, that's what happened. And I see that it's like when अक्सर जब हमारे बच्चे रोते हैं कोई चीज के लिए, कोई किसी ने कुछ चीज छीन ली, तो हमें उन पे इतना तरस आता है, इतना रहम आता है कि हम उनको, बच्चे मैं तुम्हें उससे भी ज्यादा कुछ अच्छा दूंगा, राइट, समथिंग बेटर जो हम ले भी नहीं वाले थे या तो हम अफोर्ड भी नहीं कर सकते, लेकिन क्योंकि वो उसके आंसू हमसे नहीं देखे जाते हैं, इसी तरह अल्लाह सुब्हान व तआला अपने बंदों के आंखों में आंसू नहीं देख सकता। लेकिन अगर वो बंदा रिटेलिएट कर रहा है और उसका दूसरे बंदे को मार रहा है, इमोशनली भी, when we curse somebody, God forbid, Allah doesn't like this. He says मुझ पे मेरे पास फरियाद करो, लेकिन शिकायत भी ना करो, बस हिम्मत मांगो मुझसे, तो मैं तुम्हें इतना और कुछ दे दूंगा कि वो दुख तुम्हें फिर कभी याद नहीं आएगा।